and we really only want killers and hustlers. We want people who are on the same vision as us. They're seeing where we're going, and we want someone that wants to grow with us, not someone that we constantly have to carry.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sell the Truth. I'm your host, Eli Stoehr, and I am in the studio here with two fine gentlemen who, man, I'm excited to have these guys on. And I feel like I say that with every episode because everyone I'm genuinely excited to have on. But like these two gentlemen, I've had the pleasure of knowing Garon here for maybe a year, maybe 2 years now. And Josh, I know we met before, but I really got to have some conversations with you yesterday about kind of where you're at and what you guys are doing. But I've got Garon Beard, CEO of Redline Roofing and Coatings. Garon, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Thanks for making the 5-hour drive.
5 hour?
5-hour drive.
4.5.
Yeah, not too bad. and also Josh Hot.
It's like caught only with an H.
Hot only with an H. VP of Sales at Redline Roofing and Coatings. Welcome, gentlemen.
Excited to be here.
Welcome. So, I really just kind of wanted to start this episode off with like talking about your guys' roles and like what got you to start. First of all, Redline Roofing and Coatings, right? You guys are doing a lot of work in the Cincinnati market. Roofing, I mean, you're doing all kinds of stuff, but like roofing is like your main thing.
Yes.
But like what got you to start? You're an entrepreneur, you're a young dude, you and I get along, and
yep, exactly.
And what got you to start Redline?
Yeah, so when I started Redline, we had a focus of being, a commercial roofing company. That's our main specialty. Kind of like you guys, we focus on the portfolios, and specifically in low slope roofing. So, your single ply roofing, your roof coatings, roof maintenance plans, that kind of stuff. We want to we love working with businesses rather than residential. We love working with all the leaders of the organizations that are our clients. And business to business sales has just always been, kind of my thing. Early on, I, started with my mom. My mom owns a marketing company up in Toledo. And, at a very young age, 18 years old, I was working with business owners, heads of marketing and that kind of stuff. And, when I started, that translated over to Redline. So, I did start it. I am the CEO as of right now. I handle a lot of, the day-to-day vision setting, all that kind of stuff. I have Josh next to me. Josh is our VP of Sales. And then we have our COO, Chief Operating Officer, Jeremy Magram. It's mainly us three communicating together on a daily basis. Josh can talk a little bit about him.
Hey, Josh, would love to hear about your role and kind of, you start off in a facilities world. You were telling me that yesterday, right? Like
yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the restoration industry for over 20 years now, not to kind of show my age a little bit, sitting next to the young stud here, but I've been, from that side of things, I've been in the cleaning industry. I've been in the flooring side of things. I've done a lot, right? So now with Redline, whole different ball game for me. Even though it's still kind of in that construction realm, it's still roofing, right? So instead of looking down all day at floors, I'm looking up at the roofs now, right? So it is a little bit of a different ball game for me. But what I do for Redline is I get sales. Right, whether it's with by myself or with a team, we all work together to achieve the same goal, same vision, same ideas. I'm kind of a no excuse kind of mentality. Go, hustle, grind, get it done. So that's kind of where my head's at. But yeah, sales have become my life for the last 20 some odd years, and it's fun. It's a blast. Right? It's so exciting. The thrill of the sale, right? It's like an art form. So, but adapt, change, overcome, create new things. Like it's always moving. Sales never stays the same.
So you're somewhat new in this role at Redline, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What would you say is like the biggest difference between? Were you leading a team at your previous organization? Or were you individual sales?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a support piece at the last opportunity, but I've run sales teams all across the nation. I've always grown from the ground up with a lot of these teams. But my role, with Redline, I just started not too long ago, beginning of the year. I just wanted a new adventure, right? I mean, sometimes you just want something new, a change in life, right? Change in culture. And that's where, Garon came along. I mean, I believed in what his vision was, and I believed in where he wanted to go and what this was going to look like, right? Kind of gave up the corporate world mentality to be able to make my own thing, right? To start from scratch and to really build what the vision is going to be, and be able to call. You're passionate when you own something, right? This is my sales team. This is my sales vision, and I get to bring the same people with the same ideas into my world, and we all get to work together, and we work closer together, and that's just fun.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I'm passionate about our sales team. Like
Sure.
when something is this was probably a few months ago, but there was just a little bit of conflict in our team, and with a couple of people, and there was someone who obviously was in the wrong, and I was like, man, like we can't have this type of behavior amongst the team. And I was having a conversation with Todd Grell on our team, as our chief growth officer as well. So I was having this conversation with him. I don't know, it was maybe just a couple weeks ago, and he brought up to me, he's like, man, like your passion when you brought this issue to me, and like told me like we need to do something about this, otherwise it's going to ruin the culture of our team. He goes, that was amazing to see. Right. I'm like, dude, I just like, I believe like this team, like I am, responsible for leading them. Right. And like, I'm not going to let anything get in the way of, what they could do and the life that they could create.
Absolutely.
And if that means that there's, someone with values who don't line up, amongst the team, like that might mean that person has to go. Right. And it's like, I feel the same way. Like I have a huge passion for it.
Yeah. I think you and I have a very nice similar story. I think our ages are a little different times, right? Different times, but with your story coming into here, I think is amazing. And I think that follows suits with what I'm going through now here. So I think that's why that clicks a little bit, and it's cool stuff.
So has there been what's the biggest change? Like you didn't really change industries, but you and I were talking yesterday, how you're maybe not selling to the same exact persona of person anymore, but it's still a similar industry. Like, has there been any other change that you've had to make along that?
Yeah, I mean, not so much, right? Because, you can still say sales is sales, right? You still have to smile. You still have to shake hands and kiss babies, right? I mean, you still have to it's still an art form. You still have to play that role. But I think from the prospecting standpoint, like you and I talked yesterday, there is a big difference, a big change, right? With roofing and coatings, we're not necessarily going after the same audience I'm used to, right? Facility managers and those different titles are not exactly the same people that I'm looking for, right? So now I've had to step up my game a little bit more, right? Sure. Now you just have to reel it in and go, okay, I'm gonna now have to call the president of this company, right? I'm going to have to call the like we talk, an asset manager or something along those roles. And, I think even for a younger, newer sales individual, I can make you nervous, right? Because now you're trying to hunt down the big dogs. You're not just going after the facility guys that's handling maintenance who are super nice, go out, chill, have a beer with, sure. Right? It's a whole different ball game. So.
I think we talked about this yesterday, but the one thing that I always think about, because like I've been in that position before, like I'm cold calling people or I'm reaching out to people and I'm like, man, these guys are like executives at these like Fortune 500 companies. Right. Like I'm just a 25-year-old kid at the Pavement group that's trying to, be their asphalt and concrete guy. Like who am I to call? And then I think about it and I'm like, listen, these guys, they wore diapers at one point, just like me. Like they shit their pants at one point, just like me. Like, I'm just gonna pick up the phone and call them, right? Like, I'm just gonna call them. They swing sticks just like me. They probably shank a ball into the woods just like me. Like, they're just people. Yeah. They're people. Yeah. And so when you realize that, it doesn't matter who you're selling to, right? Yeah. They might be a little like the people that you're selling to now might be a little more professional, right? And you have to meet them where they're at. But at the end of the day, like they're just people, man. Yeah, and treat them like people.
A good story to go along with that. I was just on a golf course for a scramble. I got invited to, and my mentality is I talk to everybody, right? I when I'm out there on the course and you're having a good time, a random cart pulls up behind you and you walk up to him and say, "Hey, how's it going?" Right? Shake hands. Well, come to find out, the individual that I shook hands with was actually a president of a really large construction company that I had on my list that I wanted to get in with. And he happened to give me a card and everything and reached out and said, "I'm not sure you remember me." "Yeah, I remember you. You're that bearded stud I talked to." He didn't really say that, but I can picture what he's thinking. But, he said, "Yeah, absolutely. Let's get together. I'd love to have a conversation with you." Right? Like, sometimes, the title means nothing. Sometimes they're just human beings, and you just have to keep that in mind, like you said.
100%, 100%. So, Garon,
Yeah.
you're in sales, obviously, as the founder, CEO of Redline, and prior to that, you've been selling, right? I feel like basically, same thing here. Brian was in sales for the longest time, and he was the wearer of all hats, so to speak. And he was in sales, and he was doing operations. He was doing everything when we first started the Pavement Group. What has that transition been like? As you've hired these studs to manage your team. That's seriously
At least it's being acknowledged.
has that been kind of a difficult transition, or has that been pretty easy to kind of let them run with?
I would say it's pretty easy. Even still being the CEO and running the company, I still love the sales aspect, and I'm selling every day. And that's a good point to lead into is no matter what you're doing, no matter if you're a doctor or a trainer at a gym or, whatever industry you're in, you're always selling. You had to sell yourself to your wife. You had to too, and that probably was hard.
That was a hard sell.
But no, you're always selling yourself. I put a lot of trust into Josh. I know, the experience that he has, the capabilities he has, and, he's, one of our best assets on the team, with his experience, the energy that he brings for our culture, it's truly a blessing. It's something I prayed for early on, and, I'm blessed to have him. But no, I put my trust into Josh. Josh leads our sales team, and, I still like to continue to sell. I always joke with these guys, I hate being in the office. I love being out in the field. I love going on roofs. I would say that would be the most difficult thing for me, when hiring Josh was I'm not used to sitting in the office and not going and looking at these together or being a part of these meetings. He brings me in for the important ones and the bigger ones. But I look at his calendar, I'm like, man, I'm missing out going to all these roof appointments. I'm like, I love that. And so, my guys know that, we're always here to help. I'm always here to help, I like being out in the field. I like meeting clients. I think it's important for them, the clients especially. We've had a couple of our customers say, "Oh, you're the boss." Well, that goes a long way for you to even be here. So we had a property owner that had said that, and that goes a long way to people. So I would say that's the only difficult part was, not being on the roofs every day, not being at every meeting like I was used to. But very blessed to have Josh on the team and continue to see what we do as a team.
Yeah, I feel the same way with our team. It was basically Todd and myself and Brian, selling for the first year. And then we hired Chad Fay and Mike Assetti on our team, and they started to really ramp up. And now they're doing incredible things here. And now we've got a whole, I think we have 8 or 9 people on our sales team. And it's now I'm in a position to where I was just telling Brian this the other day, 2-3 years ago when I was an individual salesperson and it was just me, if I was off track, I could just outwork the issue. If let's say at this point in the year I was supposed to be at $4 million sold and I was at 2, well, that just meant that I had to outwork it. And I can still do that to some extent now. But as an overall team, the biggest change that I've seen, this year and last year as I've gone into this role of director is I can outwork a little bit, but I need to now rely on my team to do this work and to empower them and to be there to support them to get through. If we're behind, I got to empower the team to make this happen. And that is going to take work from every single person on the team. And it's been a weird change for me because I'm just used to I'm just a hustler, right? I'm just
exactly.
I'll just work. I'll just, ask my wife. When I first got into sales, I was up at my computer at 11 o'clock at night, midnight, 1 o'clock, working on proposals and like getting stuff out to customers. And like, again, I can still do that to some extent here, but it's, in my role now, but like now it's a little bit different, right? Like I have to empower my team. I have to be there to support them in order to really make it happen. If we're in a, in a spot where we're not quite where we need to be. Right.
Right.
So, Garon, I'd love to hear too, like, as you've continued to hire people, like what do you look for? This is a big topic in the, in the construction industry. Like when you hire people, like what are you looking for? Like for us, like, we hire salespeople and I'm not really looking for, I'm looking for a little bit of sales experience if we can. If it's in the industry, great. If it's selling to facilities, folks, even better, right? But I'm really looking for values. And I'm looking for people that are hungry and want to work. What do you look for when you hire people for your sales team?
Yeah, so at Redline, we have decided, Josh does initial interviews. Josh is in charge of that. He won't let me hire anyone without his approval.
Yeah.
So Josh does our initial interviews with that prospect. He's focused, I would say, more on the experience, that kind of stuff. I'm looking for, kind of like what you said. What are your values? What do you do in the morning? Because what you do at home affects what you're going to do here at Redline. So, do you go to the gym? What are your goals? That kind of thing. I know we talk about goal setting with our sales reps that, hey, what are the 20 companies that you want to get into this year? What are your top 20 prospects that you'd like to do business with? So, establishing that goal setting with them and values, are you a good person? That's important, and we really only want killers and hustlers. We want people who are on the same vision as us, they're seeing where we're going, and we want someone that wants to grow with us, not someone that we constantly have to carry. Grow with us, help us build, because it is one big family. Mm-hmm. You can go into that a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's all 100%. I think for me, I go a little deeper, right? It's personality. It's like you can't bring somebody into sales who has the personality of a brick wall, right? Like it just doesn't translate very well a lot of times. Those are great account managers in most cases, but not great at being able to knock on a door and get that presence from somebody, right? So, I tend to take it a little more into, a personality, somebody who can smile, somebody who can just easily talk to people, right? Like I network on a regular basis. I mean, I do anywhere from 10 to 15 events a week, just to.
That's a lot, bro.
It is. But once again, I hustle, right? It's all about the grind for me. So being able to get in front of all those people and create champions, right? Create referral partners, that's my favorite way of acquiring sales and gaining prospects. But, I want somebody to be able to go out and just be able to be personable with people, right? Be able to communicate. I can teach sales, right? I can teach the process. Prospecting and what you need to do, watching all the programs and the softwares we have to help with that. But sometimes you just can't teach personality and you can't teach emotion. You can't teach somebody to smile. And so I tend to partner a lot of that with some of the things that Garon has said, maybe having some experience and, what have you done in the past, those type of things. But yeah, I always tend to take it one more step, right?
Sure.
I want somebody I can work with every day.
Sure. Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
I always joke around, like, I see the people here at the Pavement Group more than I see my wife. I'm
exactly.
like, I should want to, like, hang out with these, like, and be here with these people.
Right.
Like, we're on the same mission, right? We have very similar, if not the same values, and, like, literally see these people more than I see my wife. And so I'm like, I don't want somebody here, we don't want people here that are, like, obviously don't align, right?
Right.
And if that's the case, then it's maybe not a good fit, and that's okay. Yeah. Like it's always what I've come to realize is like that's okay. There's probably a place out there for somebody with values maybe that are a little bit different than mine or anyone else here. No, I'm right there with you, man. And I always look for too, like it starts with trust, right? Or really it starts with likability with clients, right? Like you got to be a likable person,
Right.
and then you build the trust after that.
Yeah.
And so, that's how to do that is something that you can teach people. But like at the end of the day, like there's people who just out there just aren't likable, right? Like it's just for whatever reason, like, and they like sometimes people like will go against the grain on purpose, right? Just because that's what they like to do. They like to, stir things up, and like maybe not the greatest salesperson in the world. So I always too look for people that are like likable, and then who are trustworthy too. Like I want people on my team too that are trustworthy.
Absolutely.
I mean, I got to know to trust them, right? If they're giving me as a salesperson and I'm the director, if they're giving me projections for the month or for the quarter, and I'm like, well, are these actually true? Like, that's not great. Like, that's not good for the company, man. Like, I got to know that I can trust them. I got to know that my clients and our clients can trust them, and everyone else. So.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to give the bad news, right? Have a salesperson that's not afraid to just, hey, I'm just not where I need to be, so help me. How do I get there, right? Man, that goes so far with me. Just ask for help. I've done it with him several times since I've been here. We tend to throw the titles out the window, especially early on right now, is I know that I can look at him and go, listen, I need this done tomorrow, right? Or I need you on this visit with me, be here, right? And the, flip side, he can look at me and say, hey, these are the things that we need to accomplish and what I need, right? Throw the titles out the window for a little bit, work together. For me, it kind of starts at the top a little bit. And then when the rest of your team sees how well we all work together from the top down, it spreads, right? I mean, I see you guys here. You guys have such great chemistry from the leadership standpoint. You just have awesome people here, right? It's an amazing culture that's been built, and that's what we aim to do with our company as well, is keep that culture growing.
How you show up as a leader is how they'll show up.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I stress, especially with Josh and Jeremy, our leadership team. How you show up is how they'll show up. So are you getting there early? What are you doing outside the office to better yourself? That's important, because it's going to, our sales reps, our employees are going to see that, and it's going to really push them harder too. We want people who will go out and get deals, aren't afraid, who can stand up in front of a crowd and, talk about Redline, because we are one big family, and, that's important for us. They're an extension of our brand. You want someone who is going to be a good fit for your brand, put on a good show. And, we were talking about integrity. We want something when we're not looking. We want someone when we're not looking to do the right thing. That's one of our standards at Redline, and that's something that Josh and I tell the guys all the time.
Yeah, one of the things that I've come to realize, Brian's actually, mentioned this to me. Brian Hester, CEO, has mentioned this to me several times. That my role isn't even it's not even a coach. It's more of a player coach. Right, I'm sure you're in the weeds with with your salespeople all the time, and like, I think the best leaders are player coaches, right? They're not afraid to jump in there with their sales team, jump on calls, jump into deals, go travel. It's exactly what you just said, right? Like, what you do is what your team is going to do, and I feel that exact same thing. I'm like, dude, if I get here late every single day, my team's going to think that that's okay. And they're probably going to show up late every single day, and that's just bad culture, right? Like, we don't want that. Like, we're on time, we're prompt, and it goes for anything, right? Anything that you're doing, like, your team is going to emulate that. And so, yeah, one of the things Brian brought up to me is like, dude, you're a player coach. Like, I'm still selling myself. I still have accounts that I'm working on. I'm still prospecting. I'm still bringing things in. Now, is it as much as when I was a salesperson? No, because I have other responsibilities and I only have so much time on my plate. But at the end of the day, like, I'm jumping in the weeds with my sales team. Like, it's a player coach type of thing. Is that kind of the position you're in too?
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever been anything other than, in the 20 some odd years I've been in leadership, it's never been a different role. It's always player coach. I even said this to, our guys the other day is, I don't expect you to do anything I wouldn't do. Right. So if I'm out there hustling in the morning to start, like I'm very rarely in the office, because I'm just go, right? But I'll call Garon early in the morning. We'll talk for a little bit. He knows I'm up and about. He knows I'm doing my thing. But I want all my people to do the same thing. Get up and go. Get out there. I don't need you sitting around the office. I'm not sitting around the office. Why are you sitting around the office?
Sure,
I'm out here knocking on doors.
Dude.
Are you out here knocking on doors? Right. So I don't expect anybody to do things that I wouldn't do, but I want to make sure that you are at least following suit. And if you got a better idea, bring it to me. You got another avenue you want to go down? Let's talk about it. Right. Let's make it happen. I don't shush them out of their personal ideas and stuff as well, but we're a big team. Let's do it.
One of the biggest videos I see a lot on social media is when Mark Cuban bought the Mavs. When he bought it, ticket sales were down, season tickets were low, members were low. And, when he bought it, he put his desk right in the sales area, and he started dialing. He had a phone book and he started dialing. And, that's something that we want to never forget. We want to be able to do the same thing. And like he said, like Josh said, is, we don't want you to do anything that we're not doing. So, and it's important, especially, kind of like Josh had said, he's not in the office a lot. We do a 1 or 2 team meetings a week, depending, usually a Monday sales meeting and then a Friday more fun meeting. What did we accomplish this week? What are we going to accomplish next week? Let's have a little fun. Because our motto at Redline is get shit done, have fun.
I love it.
So, that's usually our Fridays. But we want the sales guys out in the field. A lot of our business comes from door knocking and cold calling, meeting at networking groups like Josh said. I look at his calendar because we share as a leadership team a calendar, and it's full of events. Now, a lot of them after 5 o'clock are bourbon events, but they're still business events.
Don't knock them.
Yeah, don't knock them.
I got a tea time in about 5 minutes.
But he's doing, and our team is doing what they need to do. And he's very right about what he said on, he's not asking the guys to do anything that he wouldn't do. And I think they see him and how hard he works. And all our sales guys can see his calendar. And when they see that he's got 15, and he's very detailed on, how he sets up his calendar. Like, even if it's a phone call, he has it on there. If it's a prospect, he has it on there. And I think once the sales guys see that and see how hard he's pushing, they follow suit. Just like I said, how you show up is how they'll show up. So.
I love it, dude.
That's a great characteristic of who Josh is.
Dude, that, my friend, is leadership.
That's so great, man. I appreciate it.
That, my friend, is leadership. So, I know there's some folks that listen to the show who are looking to get into sales, or they're new to sales, right? Like, not everyone that listens to the show is, an expert salesperson. They're trying to get there, and they're on their journey. And what advice would you give to those people, or like when they're looking to get into a sales role, like what types of companies should they be looking at? How should they be looking at these companies? Like, you've led a lot of sales teams, right? Like, you've, I'm sure, been in other sales roles, and like, what have you looked for in organizations when you first got into sales? Like, how should people approach that?
Oh, that's a great question, and there's so many answers to that. I think obviously if you're researching, there's a lot of articles and whatnot out there for best places to work. I know Cincinnati's huge on that. But they're not always the greatest. But that's what they push for. They want that. I think sometimes it's word of mouth. I always say the best job opportunities I've ever received from just networking. Right? Organizations. There's several. That's how Garon and I really met, to be honest. We had a mutual friend who invited me to a networking group of his, and we got to meet and talk, and, we just stayed in touch. So I think, getting out there, the best way for me is just get out there, go to some associations. There's some things you can do at no cost. They'll let you come and visit and talk to other companies, get their input. Do you know anybody hiring? Any good, and they'll give you good sales companies. They'll give you good companies. Flip side, to get into sales, I said this on the Brian Hess show, is it's kind of looking at that person in the mirror, right? You have what it takes. Can you smile?
It ain't easy.
Can you give a 30-second commercial? Can you talk to somebody without pitch slapping them, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a huge thing, right? Can you start a conversation knowing that you're there to sell, but really understand creating a relationship first is key, right? Can you talk to somebody without being the salesperson right
Come
away?
on.
I mean, there's so much to it. Like, but I've met people who come in right away and say, "Hey, so I'm so and so, and I'm with the IT company, logistical," and it's like, okay, hold on, slow down. Hi, I'm Josh. Right?
Sales has evolved. Man.
Yeah,
Sales
it has changed.
Sales is not a 1980s used car sales guy. You're trying to flip, flip
Right.
something quick, make a quick sale. It's not. It's not the Jordan Belfort.
Right.
When people think sales, it's literally why we called this, sell the truth, because
Right.
we are here to build relationships. We are here to look at the long-term time horizon. I'm not talking 5 years. I'm talking 50 years.
Right.
And we are here to do right by the customer and sell the truth. And it's not what it is perceived to be, right? If you approach it the right way, it's not what it's perceived to be.
Yeah, it's not. So
100%.
yeah, but those are just small little keys to it. It doesn't have to be rocket science, right? And sales should be fun.
Yeah.
In my mind, sales should be fun. It's the art of the sale. It's the thrill of the closing the deal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those relationships. I've always said, as long as I'm a networker, I'll always have a job, right? And I tell people that. No, I don't ever plan on leaving, right? Don't get me wrong, but it has served its purpose for me for several years. I've always had great opportunities presented. I will always have a place to go. But yeah, to be passionate, to be able to relationship with people and do those things. I mean, it's just, it means a lot more in the sales world now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think being in sales, it's the best job you could have. The sky's the limit on how much you can make. You're never capped usually. Depending on what company you work for, but you should never be capped in sales. The sky's the limit. To what he was just talking about, and kind of what we talked about on the Brian Hess show. Practice makes perfect. Get out in the networking groups, meet with people, talk with people, introduce yourself, do your, if you're in a BNI or an H7 or, whatever type of networking group you're in, you're going to get usually about 30 to 60 seconds as an introduction to people. Keep repeating that stuff. On the flip side of that, keep dialing the phone or keep door knocking. Going into these businesses, introducing yourself, that's going to help you. It's going to give you more confidence in sales. And then I'll bring another perspective on one of the first things Josh had talked about. I had known Josh for about 1.5 years, 2 years before I actually hired him, and I got to see him work. I got to see what he did with, his last company. I saw how much of a hustler he was. And as a, business owner, that's attractive. We've actually, everyone that we've hired so far and we continue to hire, has been people that, I've watched for the last couple of years and seen, what they did with their other companies. That's how, you find a good employee. You see them out in the field with Josh. I met him at networking groups. I could see how he carried himself, how personable he was. And, that goes a long way in sales. So I would say that's very important. Another thing is make sure your salespeople have a why. If you're getting into sales, create your why. Write it down. When you're looking at yourself in the mirror every morning or at night, write down your why on there. For me, I don't have a wife or kids yet, but my why is my future family. That's important for me. And then as an extension to that, my employees, their kids, as a business owner, we're feeding so many mouths.
Your why is my family.
Yes. Yeah. It's not just, based on, what I want. Everyone loves the material things. For me, it's my future family and also all my, the guys and girls in our organization, their families too. That's very important. As a sales rep coming in, determine your why. There's always going to be the materialistic things, the cars, the watches, the fun trips, that kind of stuff. But, in the long run, that shit doesn't matter. It's your family. It's, it's helping people. When Ed Milet came to our TCS conference down in Naples, it's we're the ones that change the family tree, and we're the ones when people are in need, we can help. And I love that. That's what pushes me every single day. If Josh came to me and he really needed something, I want to help him. And I know he would do the same thing for anyone. So.
Speaking of that, need $1 million loan. You got that,
No, I love that, man. When I think about this question, what advice would I give to, people who are looking to get into sales or maybe new into sales, looking for a role? There's a couple of things that come to mind. The first thing for me is like, find a place that aligns with your values. Like that's the first and foremost. Values over money. Like there's places that are going to promise you a lot of money, and they might not be the greatest place. And honestly, like the money will come. If you find a place that aligns with your values, the money will come. It's the first thing. The second thing, like at the Pavement Group here, most of our salespeople start as project coordinators. Don't be afraid to start at a role that will get you into sales. It is the best, like our best salespeople here were a project coordinator for a year, maybe 2 years prior to becoming sales. And it's really, a project coordinator is really just a sales support role. So they support the salespeople, they support those accounts. They worked on the accounts, they learned the business, and they learned all the things that like what to do, what not to do. And through that, there's just a transfer of knowledge that they get. Like if I was to start new and like if I was to go back, 5-6 years ago and go to a completely different industry, I would do the exact same thing that I did here at the Pavement Group. I would start as a project coordinator or something along those roles, and I would learn the business, and I would, get that knowledge transfer, and then move into sales. And that's really what we've seen successful at the Pavement Group. The last thing is like I would find a place too that like the vision for that organization encompasses your vision for your life and what you want to do too. Like it's not just a job, man. Like find a place that truly is going to align with your vision for your life. Like the vision for that place, whatever organization it is, whether it's the Pavement Group, Redline, right, or another completely new organization, make sure that the vision for that place aligns with the vision for your life and that it can encompass that.
Absolutely.
So with that, I'd love to ask you guys, what's the vision? What's the vision for Redline?
Yeah, so Redline, the vision that we've always talked about with our guys is, we want to be a nationwide household commercial roofing company. So we want to be that household name that a facility or a portfolio, they know who to call, and we're going to solve the problems for them. It's a trust thing. We want to be that person or that company that no questions asked. We have the integrity that even when that building owner is not there, we're doing the right thing. We're always looking out for, cost-effective solutions for these facilities. We offer a lot of products that a lot of other roofing companies don't offer, because we have the heart for that business owner. We're looking out for their bottom line too. We're trying to figure out the best solution. There's a lot of companies that just want to, sell you that new roof replacement when you don't actually need it. And there's other solutions that have a lot of benefits. It could be, we have our commercial roof coatings, it's 100% tax deductible in the first year. You get a 20-year warranty with it, and it's about half the price in most cases than a replacement. That's a good solution for a lot of facilities. We also, there's a lot of facilities nowadays, that want to be energy independent. There's a lot of big companies that have net zero emissions, goals by, 2030 or 2035. We have opportunities where we can package commercial solar with that commercial roof. They're adding to their property value. They're lowering their energy bill. And most of the time when we package those together, it comes back in the first year on a tax deduction or tax abatement. So, we really try to tailor the right solutions for that facility. But back to vision, we want to be the household commercial roofing company. We want to be nationwide, and we want to have multiple offices throughout. And, that's where we're going.
Yeah, absolutely. The vision is ever changing, right? I think there is a goal there. There is an end result. We know who we are right now. Like we know who we are. I love being able to go into a company and just see that, oh man, they need new paint. they really need flooring in here. Like, I love being able to look around with my background and know that, and we've got Wyatt as well, who's great at this. He's a facility guy, right? He can walk into any place and go, yeah, I'm here to look at your roof. I tell you what, are you doing any remodeling in here? I see you need new floors, new paint. Like, we can literally GC an entire project for people, right? We're not just, we are a commercial roofing company, but we believe in the facility solutions aspect of things too, right? We want to be able to help this company with everything they need so they don't have to worry about it, right? They don't want to take the time to find 7 other individuals in 7 other industries to pull them together and to navigate all these, all these moving pieces. We want to be able to help them do that. It's nice to be able to say, man, they're asking if we want to paint the exterior of this building. And Garon goes, yes. And I'm like, good, we're on the same page because I got a guy already. I've got a Rolodex of fun, is what I call it, full of just individuals, painters and electricians and plumbers. Like, I can bring them in easily and handle all of this for you, right?
To Josh's point, we actually one of the first jobs I actually took Josh on before we hired him. I wanted to show him the process. I wanted to show him a meeting with a facility. The lady, amazing lady, who ran pretty much this facility, she literally said, well, what else do you do? Can you help with this? She said, we just lost our facilities director, and that scenario happens a lot where, a lot of these facilities don't know where to look. We get told that all the time, hey, we need this. Well, we can help you with that. If we don't do that in-house, we have all these connections. We're blessed to, own an asphalt company as a sister company. So actually that same facility that Josh went on before we hired him, we have that contract. We're doing that. We're actually applying a roof coating on that facility. We're going to save them, probably about $400,000 on this facility. That job will be done probably in the 1st of July. But she just messaged me, said, hey, we need our parking lot redone. Can you help us with that? And we're very lucky that, I own another asphalt company that's a sister company to Redline. So yeah, we can take care of that. Now, if she needed paint, we can help with that too. If she needs an HVAC company, we work with a lot of HVAC companies. We can give those referrals. If they're looking for solar, we have, referrals for that. So, that facility solutions model is, really where we're going too.
Love it, man. I love it. It's exciting, man. And I'm really excited to see the growth. I've been able to watch, I've had the pleasure of watching your growth over the past year or two now. And, to plug Josh in here now and watch your growth here, man, I'm really excited to, see you guys just explode. It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming.
Oh, definitely.
So, well, good stuff, guys. I appreciate you guys jumping on here, and safe travels back to Cincinnati, man. It's kind of a long drive. I'm not gonna lie. I've made that a few times. Right. Pittsburgh to Cincinnati.
It's not too bad. We're always driving.
Oh yeah.
I just went to St. Louis and back on Sunday.
You're construction guys. You're used to it.
Yeah, we're used to being
live
on
in
the
the
road.
car. Yeah.
60,000 miles a year on a truck, or depending on what it is. So it's not too bad.
Plus, I want to stop at Grandpa's Cheese Barn on the way back, so we still got that rock
There you
and
go,
rolling
big
today.
dog. There you go.
Always come back with treats for the kids, or I'm dusts, right? Like
treats for you and the kids.
Yeah, sure. We'll definitely, yeah.
Well, good stuff. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for jumping on, and thank you guys for tuning into another episode of Sell the Truth. I hope this was insightful, man. I mean, these guys are building something really special, and it's been cool to be a part of this, and it's been cool to pour into them and listen to what they've got going on. And where can people follow you on social media? Where could they find you?
Yeah, so we are on all the main social medias. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn are the 3 main ones that we post. Our marketing company posts to. It's Redline Roof Co. on all 3 of those, Redline Roofing and Coatings. So yeah, check us out, follow us. We have some awesome content that we're posting there. There's a lot of us talking on roofs. There's some of us in the office, talking about our solutions, how we handle things, our quality, safety, that kind of stuff that are all important when choosing a contractor. So check us out on there or visit our website, redlineroofingco.com.
Love it. Appreciate you guys jumping on, and thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.